website
okay.
I got two tonight. Play the first one, the short one, okay?
Short one?
Well, I got two. One is 21 seconds and one I think is 20.
You want the shorter one?
Yeah, play the shorter one.
Okay.
Okay. All set. Gee, nervous, right? Case the phone. You answer the phone, okay?
Okay, how do you answer the phone? Just pick the receiver off?
What happens is that you press.
Instructions right there.
The red button.
Yeah.
Yeah, the instructions are right there. Just pick it up, hit speaker, and then put it right
Oh, no
down.
wonder I'm not in there.
Where's the speaker button?
Might need it.
It's the second red one.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Wait.
You can hear it, right?
Yes.
Oh, I'm overwhelmed. You're clapping too much here.
So
Hi,
many people in the audience.
unbelievable. We're really lucky. Hi, it's ACLOWE, and it's the ACLOWE Show on the City World Radio Network. And thank you so much for listening to this program. We broadcast to you every Monday night, every single Monday night, either the Bill Russo Show or the ACLOWE Show here on the City World Radio Network. We want to say thank you and thank you and thank you, as we do each and every week, because we have a number of listeners, and without those listeners and without the people on YouTube, there'd be no program. So we want to say thank you to absolutely everyone. To the people in Buenos Aires, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but we're glad that you listen to this program, and please continue to listen in the future. Don't forget the people in the Aleutian Islands, just wonderful. You've been a steady, steadfast main...
And the people in the Canary Islands are just singing your praises.
They're singing my praises. Is this on? What joke? Where did that joke book come from? But I want to say that the people in the Aleutian Islands have been listening to this program every week for several years, and we thank you so much. There are a number of things to cover. For those of you that are aware, in November will be 50 years that the President of the United States, John F. Kennedy, was assassinated in Dallas. And there will be many different ceremonies for that purpose, to acknowledge the loss of a leader of the American people, and to talk about the ongoing controversy that continues right to the present day. We kind of sewed up real quick the people who shot and killed Lincoln. We know who shot him. We know the people that were involved in the conspiracy. Most of them hung. Davy Harold, the Surratt brothers, Marie Surratt hung by her neck, and I think that by July 7th they were all dead. So that's like about 3 months. Here we are 50 years later. We talk about Lee Harvey Oswald, Jack Ruby, the Mafia, Santo Trafficante, and God knows who else is involved in potential for conspiracy for the murder, the homicide of the President of the United States. And I understand the book is coming out again, another book. This would probably be the 5,000 or 10,000 book about the topic. And those of you that are interested, you can contact us here at the City World Radio, how many W's was that? 4? Make it 3 W's, www.cityworldradio.com with your comments, and we appreciate them. You can also listen to this program if it is just a little bit after 7 o'clock on October 28th, then you're listening live to the ACLOWE Show. If it's something way past that, and how do you know that, right? But if you're listening and watching now, that means that you went to www.cityworldradio.com, and you went to our Listen Live, you clicked the Listen Live mic, and you accessed our archive, and you can listen to the Bill Russo Show, you can listen to the ACLOWE Show, you can listen to all of these different programs, of which we have a great variety of music, news, viewpoints, ideas, and all the wonderful stuff that makes up City World Radio. This evening is absolutely no exception. I have to my extreme right, to my extreme left rather, if I went this way it would be really extreme, to my extreme left I have my mentor in this business and the host of the premier flagship program of the City World Radio Network, Mr. Bill Russo himself. Hello Bill, and how are you?
I'm doing fine, Anthony. Welcome to this edition of the ACLOWE Show, and that we're going to be filming, and I'll be your executive producer this evening.
And you've been a mainstay and an executive producer, also with your own company, and doing so many other things. And we appreciate all of the things that have been happening. And we've been involved with a lot of other projects. This evening we are most fortunate because to my immediate left we have Patricia D'Arcy. D'Arcy, I'll say it the best way I can, who is our guest this evening, and we're most fortunate, and she has made a film about the Harlem Cultural Council, and we're going to learn a great deal this evening about the Harlem Cultural Council and many other tangent topics I'm sure that we're going to get involved in as we discuss these different issues. Welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. And I want to start with a shout out that I was asked to give to you, to the both of you, from Dottie Ann Taylor, from Helene Gaelic and Rhonda Passion Handsome. They all asked me to say hello.
Well, I know all of those people, and hello right back to you. And you'll be able to hear this program again on our archive.
Anthony counts them all, and you, among his dream girls.
Oh, well.
Oh, wow. Well, that's interesting.
And so do I.
How'd you get into my dream and find my information out there, Bill?
We're close friends.
Yeah, hi to everybody. Well, that's that close.
www.cityworldradio.com.
And I hope you're listening to the program right now this evening. Rhonda's been on the show a few times. Dottie's been on the show several times, going back to when we broadcast from Giovanna's in East Harlem and when we broadcast from Umberto's down in Little Italy. And we have yet to invite her here. We will do so shortly. So, Patricia, you have working on a film about the Harlem Cultural Council. Give us a little background for those of our listeners who are not aware of just exactly what the Harlem Cultural Council is about.
Okay, starting with the backdrop of the 60s, which was a pivotal time in American history. There was, you can name many transitions, the civil rights movement, the flower power, we went to the moon, we challenged the status quo for women's rights, and Harlem mirrored this transitional time. And so in 1964, 100 men of color, and some not of color because Joseph Papp was at this meeting, gathered at Planning Board 10 to talk about how to revitalize Harlem. And they decided that what they wanted to do was to use their art to create jobs, to revitalize the culture, to energize the culture, and so the Harlem Cultural Council was then formed.
Yes, and the planning board was the precursor of today's community board. When coterminality came into existence in the mid-70s, in 1977 78, I had a lot to do with that in terms of the sanitation planning for Harlem. And that's how I know that. So the board was the precursor, and you say that Joe Papp attended that meeting as well.
Yes.
There were a number of people whose names escape me that were prominent, but who was the leader back then for the Cultural Council?
Romare Bearden was one of the prominent artists. There were several, but Romy, as he was called, was one of the prominent artists that spearheaded this organization. So they formed, they needed a president, and they needed a president who could be the voice of the community. So Emory Taylor stepped up to the helm and took over as president of the Harlem Cultural Council, with Jeannie Faulkner as vice president.
You mentioned, Patricia, that
Yes.
they were artists, and Rami was an artist. When you say artist, what type of artist?
Well, we're talking everything from theater to visual arts, sculptors, painters, writers. We are talking the gamut of art. These were fledgling artists and well-known artists, all in the same room, all in the same movement to try and...
Were they accomplished artists? Already accomplished?
Not all of them. Some of them were, but not all of them. Yeah.
Because even today, on the various radio shows that I have done and artists that I've interviewed of any type of genre, whether they're actors, painters, musicians, or others, it always is a struggle to get a venue or become known or get a role, get a part. So the Cultural Council brought together already either accomplished or people who were in the arts to form what I could describe as a mutual aid society in a sense. And that very novel for Harlem at the time, because Harlem had experienced a renaissance in the 1920s.
Yes.
And then there was that period of time in the 40s, 50s, when the world was at war and the United States was part of it. And then the 1960s just seemed to be a turbulent era.
It was, but out of turbulence comes the most valued, precious gems. And that's what happened in this case. The 60s in Harlem was coined as the second Renaissance. You mentioned the first. They fashioned this as the second Renaissance. Harlem Renaissance, that is.
Right.
And it was an exciting times. It was turbulent times, but I don't know that you can create transition and change without upsetting the status quo. So
Right.
you're going to experience some turbulence.
Right.
Yes, there was a great deal of turbulence.
Yes.
You're quite right, and I think you're right in that when you want to make change, drastic change, it must come out of sometimes actions that are going to turn a lot of heads at a minimum. And I think that that you're talking